Why is business credit awesome? Business credit provides you so many different benefits that you may well not even know exist. And even if you're just starting a business or you own a very well established business, business credit really is one of the most important assets that you can have for you and your company. Why is that? Well, several reasons. First of all, business credit actually doubles your borrowing ability. You already have a credit report that's linked to your personal social security number. And if you walk into Staples today and you have no Staples credit card and you ask for a Staples credit card, hopefully you'll be able to, based on your consumer credit, get approved. But if you walk into Staples then tomorrow and ask them for another credit card, they're not going to approve you because you already have one. But with business credit, you could do just that. You could walk into Staples today to get a consumer credit card, and then you could walk in tomorrow and use your EIN to get a business credit card. It really doubles your borrowing ability because it's the only way to literally create two credit profiles. You have a credit profile and score that's linked to your social security number, and with business credit, you have a credit profile and score that's linked to your business EIN number. Now, another really cool benefit about business credit is that it makes you more lendable. Look, Experian, Equifax, and Dun & Bradstreet all have recommendations to lenders, to credit issuers of whether you should be approved for credit and how much you should actually be approved for. So your business credit quality and your business credit scores determine if you'll get loans and credit cards, how much you'll get, and the actual terms you'll pay. We've seen $2 and $3 million companies get denied for $5 and $10,000 credit limit credit cards because their business credit quality was bad. And what's worse is in those cases, they didn't even have business credit established. The reporting agencies just knew they existed and gave them a lower score because they had yet to establish business credit. So business credit really is the key for you to get long-term financing at the best rates and to get approved versus getting denied. Another really cool benefit about business credit, it has nothing to do with personal credit whatsoever. When you obtain business credit, you start building your credit profile and score, you can get approved from retail store credit at most major retailers and fleet credit and cash credit without even providing your social security number. So that means there's no inquiry on your personal credit report. There's no damage to your personal credit because you're applying for business credit. And there's no reporting of this credit on your consumer credit reports. This is a really big deal because 30% of your consumer credit score is made up of what's called utilization. What percentage of your high credit limit you're using. And if you have a $1,000 credit card and you owe more than $300 on that or have a balance higher than $300, then that means you're lowering your consumer credit score, sometimes substantially 100 points or more. But with business credit, you could have a $1,000 credit card or even a $10,000 limit credit card, max that credit card out. And because that credit card only reports to the business credit reporting agencies, you wouldn't lower your consumer credit scores even 1 point. That keeps your consumer credit healthy so you could buy all the things you need to buy in your personal life and use it for higher limit business loans, while your business credit can then continue to drive the way for you to qualify for more and more credit and financing as you continue to build your credit profile and score. Now, another huge benefit of business credit is that there's no personal guarantee. So that means you can obtain credit for your business without providing your social, with no personal credit check, and with no personal liability, which means if you ever did default, then the actual credit issuer cannot pursue any of your personal assets. They can only pursue the assets of your business. This truly separates your business and your consumer credit. And if you follow any source like SBA or Entrepreneur, for example, or Inc., they all recommend the separation of business and personal credit because it truly separates the liability between you personally and what's taking place in your business. Another huge benefit of business credit is that you can get credit really quickly. And you can get credit so quickly with business credit because the credit scores are based primarily on how you pay your bills. So as you get credit, it reports to the business credit reporting agencies, you pay the bills as agreed, and you have a good profile and score that will then help you get higher and higher limits on store credit, fleet credit, and cash credit accounts. As a matter of fact, you can start getting vendor credit immediately right now today for your business. And once you get that credit, buy things using that credit, and pay the bills, that credit typically reports within about 60 days to the business credit reporting agencies. You then have a credit profile and score, and you can then start to get high limit revolving credit accounts for your business within 60 days, regardless of your personal credit. This is only possible with business credit. And this fast establishment of credit, this fast way to get immediate vendor credit, then to start getting high limit revolving store credit and cash credit, is one of the main reasons that business credit is so popular. Another benefit of business credit is that, as I mentioned, the scores are based only on one main factor. So when we look at your consumer credit, it's based on 5 things: your payment history, your utilization, how long you've had credit, the amount of new credit you're actually qualifying or trying to obtain, and the credit mix, the mix of credit you have. Because of these 5 factors and the weight to the overall score, it typically takes many, many, many years of well-disciplined borrowing to ever have really, really good business credit scores. But in comparison, if we look at Dun & Bradstreet's Paydex score, the most popular credit score in the business world, you'll see the payment is literally based on how you pay your bills. If you pay your bills on time, you have an 80 score, which is considered good. If you pay your bills early, you have a 100 score, which is considered great. If you pay your bills late, well, your score will be based on how late you pay the bills. If you're paying your bills on average 30 days late, you'll have a 50 score. Whereas if you're paying them on average 14 days late, you'll have a 70 score. This is so easy to control in the business world because all you need to do is get initial credit that reports to the business credit reporting agencies, pay your bills, and you're instantly rewarded with great scores that you can use to obtain more and more credit. Now, as I mentioned, there's no personal liability with business credit, but what I didn't mention is that the limits on business credit accounts are typically 10 to 100 times higher than what you're going to find with consumer credit. And this actual figure of 10 to 100 times higher comes from SBA themselves. Look, businesses have a much greater need for credit than an individual does. You may never need a $10,000 consumer credit card with Dell, but you very well might need $10,000 worth of credit at Dell for your business because you have a need to buy a lot of computers versus you don't really have that need on the consumer side. This is why business credit limits are so much higher than consumer limits. And if you're used to getting $100 or $1,000 limits in the consumer world, well, then in the business world, you're going to see $1,000 to $10,000 limits. And if you're used to getting $5,000 and $10,000 limits in the consumer world, well, then you could easily get $50,000, $100,000 limits in the business world. It's very common for us to see revolving credit issued from stores to people that are just building their business credit within 60 to 90 days. Dell is notorious for giving $10,000 credit limits to people that have just started building their business credit a few months before. So limits are very high in the business credit world. And when you combine that with quick establishment of building business credit, this means you can start to get a lot of credit with very high limits very, very, very quickly. Another benefit of business credit is that it's perfect for startups. As a matter of fact, there's not a lot of financing that you can obtain as a startup because startups are such a high risk. When they look at business that go out of business or companies that actually close their doors, what we realize is that the longer a business stays open, the lower risk it has of failing. When businesses initially get started, there's a high risk of failing. So because of this, banks don't want to lend a lot of money to businesses that are just getting started or that have even been open 1, 2, 3 to 5 years. But business credit you can obtain the minute you set up your EIN number. So it's perfect for startups because, again, you can start obtaining high limit accounts very quickly, even as a startup company. And there's no cash flow requirements. You won't need to submit tax returns. You won't need to submit bank statements to get approved for business credit as you do with so many other alternative and conventional loans. Another benefit of business credit, it gives you a huge competitive advantage. When you're talking about your competitors that don't have access to business credit, that don't have access to high limit store, cash, and fleet and vendor credit accounts versus one that does, then the advantage is all in the favor of the company that has the most access to capital to be able to adjust, to be able to grow quickly, and to be able to handle those unexpected, even emergencies that sometimes arise. So business credit gives you a huge competitive advantage versus companies in your space that don't have business credit established. Another huge benefit of business credit is you don't need collateral. If you walk into a conventional bank, they're going to require often 20 to 50% or more of what you borrow that you have collateral to offset the risk. But with business credit, you don't need collateral. This is a really big deal because business credit's the only type of credit and financing that can be obtained for a business if you have no collateral, you don't have cash flow, and you have consumer credit issues. It's a catch-all. It's a solution that works for you no matter how bad your personal situation is, no matter how bad your personal credit is. Even if you don't have the collateral and you don't have the cash flow, you can still come in and obtain high limit business credit accounts where you can't come in and typically get business loans. And with business credit, it's just easier to grow your business. Look, to come in and be able to get $2, $3, $4, $5, $10,000 limit credit cards at places like Amazon and Staples and Dell and Apple, and then to be able to get cash credit, this gives you large amounts of money that you need to pay a lot of the things that are necessary to start and grow a business without you using your actual cash flow to try to do the same. Business credit is awesome because there's so many different benefits. It can be built so quickly. You can obtain high limit accounts. It's not based on your consumer credit quality, and on and on and on. So if you'd like to know more about building your business credit, even if you'd like to get a free copy of your business credit report and score, get in touch with us today so we can talk to you more and help you start obtaining high limit business credit accounts for your company.